The room that we are...
Twin sisters Joe and Joy Banner look at this historic house.
This house was built around 1793.
And they see more than just old real estate. Rather, walls that hold 200 years of history that cuts deep.
Freedom fighters would have come in through these doors.
Growing up, Joe and Joy's grandmother would tell the stories. How the 1811 slave revolt ignited right here on the Woodland Plantation. An estimated 500 slaves took up arms in the uprising, making it one of the largest slave revolts this country has ever seen. 2 centuries later, the Banner sisters, Louisiana natives, are now the first black owners of the historic house and the 4-acre plantation it sits on, right in the river parishes just 30 miles north of New Orleans.
I know that she is really proud.
U.S. troops and local militias stopped the rebellion.
They were executed and their heads were chopped off, placed on pikes along the river as a symbol of this is what happens to you when you fight for freedom.
The sisters using their nonprofit, the Descendants Project, to try to preserve the history of this place and to protect the health of the people who live along the 85-mile stretch of land that sits on the banks of the Mississippi River, dubbed Cancer Alley. The area is surrounded by almost 200 industrial facilities from Baton Rouge to New Orleans, spewing emissions linked to cancer in the region. According to the EPA, those who live here are 95% more likely to get cancer compared to the rest of the nation. The EPA under President Biden called for the plants to reduce toxic emissions linked to cancer. Woodland Plantation is wedged inside the so-called chemical corridor.
The plantations provide 3 things that they need: large access to land, access to water, as well as an accommodating political system.
Joe is referring to zoning laws that changed in Louisiana in the 1980s and 90s, changing residential lands into industrial sites. Just this year, Human Rights Watch said authorities have failed for decades to protect locals from industrial pollution and uphold federal safety standards, making it the largest concentration of fuel plants in the Western Hemisphere. The Banner sisters are currently in a legal battle to stop Greenfield Louisiana LLC, a massive grain facility proposed in their backyard, saying it would do more harm than good, with the addition of more truck and boat pollution from added traffic and industry in an already vulnerable region. But Chad Roussel, a TSA employee and volunteer firefighter who can trace his family's lineage in the area back several generations, welcomes the economic benefits the facility is expected to bring.
They have talked about giving the younger folks a fair chance that, the older folks have gotten. Most of them have worked and retired from industry.
In a statement to ABC News, Greenfield says in part, the project will provide thousands of good-paying, environmentally sustainable jobs for local residents who have long sought such opportunity. Farmers can and should coexist with efforts to preserve and celebrate the rich history and cultural heritage of the West Bank.
But it's just like, I'm going to give you a job and you can just job away all of your problems.
Black people in the area fought for the Union Army during the Civil War, returned after being emancipated, and then pooled resources to buy the same lands where they once were enslaved.
That's why we have the Descendants Project, because we're still influenced by that fight.
Faith Abube, ABC News.
And we do want to point out the UN has called the health risks suffered by the predominantly black population in that area due to the proliferation of industrial plants, environmental racism. And the state of Louisiana and the state's Department of Environmental Quality did not immediately return ABC News' request for statements. So many thanks to Faith for